I thought I would speak about this, what Brahman means, and the different levels of realizations, because these topics are also there, obviously, in the purports. And I don't know how you used to understand when you're doing your readings, but sometimes it's a bit confusing. First I read the verse and speaking about the absolute Brahman, and how realizing Brahman is the goal, and immediately came to my mind that, oh, but this is only the first step of realizing God. And I started to do a small research about the meaning of the word Brahman. And because we generally use this word in the phrase Brahman realization, and we always a little bit degrade it, like, oh, this is just the first step, and we need to set our goal for the third one, the highest one, the realization of Bhagavan. So I thought that I would better clarify what Brahman means here, because Srila Prabhupada also explains this in several purports to several verses, that Brahman is basically it's the opposite of matter. And in some verses also using the word Brahmi, which is translated as spiritual. So basically, Brahman means eternal and spiritual. And mm, and there is a purport in Srimad Bhagavatam, fifth canto, where no Bhagavad Gita, sorry, fifth chapter. um, about Brahman realization, what it means. So this knowledge elevates him, it's from here. This knowledge elevates him to the station of knowing the complete science of the absolute truth, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Thus, he thus knows his constitutional position perfectly well, without forcefully trying to become one with the Supreme in all respects. This is called Brahman realization or self-realization. Such steady consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So this is very interesting here in this regard, that Brahman realization is not the same as the impersonal Brahman realization. So that's different. It's also stated that realizing in other verses, other purports, that realizing Krishna is the last stage, the highest stage of realizing the Brahman. So Brahman realization, this phrase, expression can be used either for realizing the impersonal Brahman, or in a general sense, that whole realization of God is Brahman realization, realizing the spiritual. And there are different levels of that realization. And within Brahman realization, realizing Bhagavan is the highest level. So here in our verse, it's not when it speaks about Brahman and Brahman realization, it's not about realizing the impersonal Brahman, but generally realizing uh, self-realization, realizing spirituality, spiritual Krishna. And one side, not side effect, but side realization here in this verse is that I think it's a very important example. It shows very nicely why it's so important to hear from the proper sources, because when we read such a verse, for example, Brahman can be translated in different ways, and Prabhupada knew what exactly this word refers to here, and this way we can get the proper understanding. But if we just start to speculate, start to hear from different sources, it may not be the proper understanding. because in Sanskrit and in these scriptures, some words are understood according to the context. So that is I think one very important message here. But let's speak about the realization, what this Brahma realization in a general sense mean. For me, it was very interesting because here it as I mentioned, Brahman refers to the opposite of matter. Brahman refers to spiritual, which means that realizing Brahman starts from understanding that we are not the body. And for such a long time, I thought that, again, I just hear that we are not the body. I heard it so many times. We already understand this. Why we don't go deeper into philosophy, to more important or much more interesting things. And later on, I started to realize that, okay, if I understand it with my intelligence, that's one thing, and this is nice. But understanding the real depth in realization, in practice, living according to this understanding, according to this realization, is a different thing. And that's why we hear about it so much, and that's why Srila Prabhupada spoke so much about this. If we check out how much he spoke about the fact that we are not the body, and how much he spoke about Radha Krishna Leelas, it's obvious that the prominent topics were much more basic. And the reason is that we need that, because we cannot go to higher level topics if we don't understand the context, how to approach these topics. And honestly speaking, it's really really a long way to understand and realize that we are not the body. And it's also there present in this purport, because Srila Prabhupada wrote a lot about the senses. And when we speak about this basic understanding that we are not the body, what it means, it's not just the fact that, okay, when I die, I mean, this body dies, I won't die, because my soul will move on to the next body, whether spiritual or material. But it means more. And I just collected a few points what we can consider in order to understand where is our present realization in this regard, these basic topics. So on a gross level, so it's one thing that what happens at the moment of death. But another thing is just to question ourselves. Um, do I understand that I'm not the body when my senses demand certain sense gratifications? So when I feel hunger, or maybe not even hunger, just just some urge to connect to certain sense objects, like a very tasty looking cake or whatever. So when the senses have some urges and really demand things, do I realize that I'm not the body, that these are just like material hardware of a computer? So I'm not obliged to follow its demands. Or when I'm sick, and there are some bodily parts which are in pain, or I'm not able to move freely, or I cannot breathe properly because my nose is blocked, or so there are these bodily discomforts. Do I understand that this is just some facility, some tools, some hardware which is not working, and or do I identify with it, and I feel that I'm suffering, or or do I understand that it's this body actually belongs to Krishna, and because it's Krishna's, I have to take care of it properly. So I have to uh, give it sufficient rest. I have to give it properly nutritional food, not some junk food or whatever, like, chips and these kind of things. Do I understand that I'm not this body? I got it as some kind of loan, but I'm also responsible for it, and I have to give it back, and I have to use it in Krishna's according to Krishna's plans and according to his pleasure. Or if we consider the subtle level, that understanding that I'm not this gross body, it's already difficult. But understanding that I'm not this subtle body, I'm not this mind, not this intelligence, not this false ego, is even more difficult, because we cannot it's not so tangible, I would say. And we more likely identify with our personality. So when I have some certain opinion based on my current knowledge, do I identify with it, or can I understand that that this is some kind of relative truth, and there is the absolute truth, and my relative truth is just one side of truth, or maybe not even it's not even truth itself. I would like to share one picture which very nicely illustrates this. Mm. So I hope you can see this.
Yes, we can see
So
that one.
here, sorry.
We can see it. So, yeah, I
Oh,
just
okay,
want
okay. So this is like you can see. I think everyone can imagine what it is in space. These shapes, but from different angles, different point of views, we see different aspects of the whole picture. And maybe I see the first one, and another person sees the second one, and we start to argue with it. And I'm just shouting like anything that. But my view is based on knowledge. I really saw it, and I'm just so attached to my view because I am right. Because so it means that not identifying with our opinions means that I'm not identifying with my mind and with my intelligence. But when I'm identifying myself with my mind and intelligence, then I will identify myself with my opinions also, that this is the absolute truth, how I see the world. But in reality, all of these three, and even there are so many other angles, but all of them are some relative pictures of the real complete truth. So that is another point. But also when I should focus my mind during japa, for example, and so many things come into my mind, and which seems so important. Sometimes they are even about service, but if we understand that we are not this body, not this subtle body, then we know that the priority is to focus on Krishna. And right now I'm associating with him in the form of his holy name. So I can understand that this is the priority, and I don't have any other focus. But usually we have so many other focus, and this shows that there are so many things which are more important to me in this moment, which I'm identifying with, because I think that these are important points. Or sometimes we feel that we have so many different emotions, and we identify with those, that we are sad at the moment, and just being so attached to these emotions. It's very interesting to start to analyze, to notice ourselves, how many times we have some certain emotion, and we are attached to these emotions and not letting go. And the interesting thing is that not even the so-called happy ones, but also the negative, the frustrating, the sad type of emotions also. We can be so attached to being angry at someone. We can be so attached to being fearful. We are so attached to being envious. And we think that we don't want these feelings, but still we are clinging onto them. And there is this story, which I'm sure all of you already heard, when one person visited a circus, and the director of the circus uh, shows him around, and at one point they see a big elephant, which is tied to a rod with a plain rope, and the guest is so surprised that how is this big powerful elephant is just tied to here with this single rope, and not going away, because he clearly has the power. His power is enough to just go away. One rope wouldn't be able to keep it. But the director says that yes, but the thing is that when this elephant was just a small elephant baby, we started to tie it to the this iron rod with a rope, and at that time he couldn't break it. And he tried it again and again, but couldn't break these shackles, and it became bigger and bigger. But after some time, he stopped trying, and there is this block in the mind of the elephant that he's not able to tear himself apart from the road, because the rope is strong enough to tie him. And and we have these material identifications in our minds, and this is what ties us, and our attachments, our identifications, which are there, and we cannot break ourselves from it freely. And this is what it means that we realize our real self, that we can understand that even this subtle body is not me. But we can go one step further, because one thing is to realize that my body is not myself, but another aspect is that others are also not their body. So when we start to judge our others based on how old they are or young they are, what is their nationality, they are fat or thin, or how they dress up themselves. When we have this kind of judgments, it shows that we still have this problem identifying the body with the soul. And when we are looking for a spouse, and most people look for a handsome boy or a beautiful, pretty girl. So it's also bodily identification, because it's important for the other to be nice person on the outside. But the same subtle identification with the subtle body is also there in regards to others. So, for example, this same thing, when others have different opinion, and we try to convince them, because it's important for us that they should be the same as I am. I should extend my my power on the outside. And for example, I have an uncle, and it's so interesting that he used to check out one certain web page for this weather, when they predict what the weather will be like. And if we use something different, then he's so angry about it. And it shouldn't matter to him, but still he's so angry that someone else thinks that the other weather forecast is good, other than the one he considers the best. So sometimes, sometimes it's about masks, sometimes it's about politicians, sometimes it's about weather forecasts. So it doesn't even matter what is the base of differences. The main point is that we want others to think the same way we do. And if someone has different behavior, that's also sometimes so difficult to tolerate. He's not so respectful, or she always leaves her things all around the temple, and why she doesn't properly take care of things, or why they do their service differently, or why the temple leadership do things like this, and why not that way. So there are so many ways how our bodily identification manifests, and all of these problems, all of these are because of this false bodily identification. And the good news is that if we understand that we are not this body and we are not this mind, then we don't have to identify with these problems also. For example, I remember that I had some frustration many years ago, and I met with one devotee, and she asked me how I felt, and I said, "Oh, it's so terrible, and now I feel so bad. I'm just struggling with my mind." And she told me that, yeah, I understand what you speak about, but in these situations, I just used to tell myself that I'm not this mind also. And then I realized that, oh, it's so nice, because if I understand that all these negative thoughts are not coming from my real self, but is just the cover on me, then it's so much easier to tolerate and live with it, that I can get rid of these gradually. So this is very important to understand the basics, because this is how we can progress forward. And one thing to understand it theoretically, and when we are doing our reading or listening to classes, and we hear this, that we are not the body, and yeah, I know, I understand it theoretically, but we have to make endeavors in order to have some practical realization, also to have some experience about it, that I'm not this body, and this way our life will gradually change. So we have to try to practice to tolerate the urges of the senses, urges of the mind, or others' looks, or others' behavior, others' opinion, and things like that. And then we can move forward in our realizations. And when we speak about uh, when we speak about the sorry, I just thought I go back to the verse. So when we speak about the Brahman realization and levels of these Brahman realizations, it's nice to speak about these different levels also, because the first step is what we usually call Brahman realization, is the realization of this impersonal Brahman. And it means it's the first step of realizing God. And it means that we realize the Sat, the eternal aspect of God. So this is the first step. And generally, when we want to just escape from the suffering of the material world, it means that we are aiming for this realization. But one very interesting thing which I've heard in one class is uh, that in order to have full Brahman realization, even for that, some bhakti is necessary, because because mm, sorry, I just lost track a little bit. So Brahman realization is not a false thing. Usually we say that this is not our goal, and this is true, but still this is a very real realization, a real thing, and we shouldn't underestimate the importance of this one also. And some elements of bhakti also mix into these practices. So as I heard, generally they Gyanis realize the impersonal Brahman based on this Jnana Yoga, practicing the processes of Jnana Yoga. But even Jnana Yoga is not fully enough to purely realize the Supreme Brahman. And it was said that Jnana Mishra Bhakti, which means that bhakti which has some elements of no yeah a bhakti which has some elements of gyan, so the two together, gyan and bhakti mixed together, that is needed in order to fully realize Brahman. And realizing Brahman means that realizing the impersonal aspect of God. And in this understanding, we don't understand the difference between the source and between the source and the energy coming from this source. So the energy and the source of energy. And it means that when one sees this glowing light of God, which is the Brahma Jyoti, it just this is the experience of God. And basically it means that so far before that, someone just experiences the darkness of material ignorance, and at some point he experiences this light of God. But because he was so for such a long time in this darkness of ignorance, this light is so blinding that he doesn't see the source and the on the all this variegatedness in this bright light. Just experiences that, oh, there is such a light and this is so attractive. So this is realizing Brahman means. Basically what it means that we see the power of God, but not himself. And so those who aim for this realization, they use the methods of Jnana Yoga, basically meditation. And and still, it's important to understand that Brahman and Bhagavan are not different from each other. It's not like there is a distinct Bhagavan and a distinct Brahman, but they are together the same. It's just the experience of God is limited, so not all aspects can be experienced on the level of Brahman realization. And even within this Brahman realization, there are different concepts. So there are those, for example, who meditate on the Virat Rupa of God, this universal form of God, and there are those who meditate on certain demigods as the as some aspect of God, representing power of God. And in the ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about how different groups realize the same reality with different processes. So even within Brahman realization, there are different concepts. It's not just one path. And according to the process that people follow, they get some kind of realization according to the process. The next stage is realizing Paramatma. And we mentioned already that on the level of Brahma realization, Sat aspect of God is realized, but here in Paramatma realization, Sat and Chit aspects of God is realized. And they also realize the person behind the power. So it's already a personal realization, but it means that we realize God in regards to the material world. So how his power manifests in the material world. Basically, it means that we realize the Ishvara aspect of God, of Krishna. And we see the person, we see who has this power, which we saw previously on the level of Brahman realization, but we only see like what he means in his so-called job, because there is a person behind the job. What is his personality, and what is his likings, dislikings, and other things in the spiritual world, but we don't see that. We don't see him as the personality. We are just interested in his occupation. So like how he manages this world, and that part. And so the method of this process is also this meditation on God's certain aspects. So for example, yogis meditate on how God is the smallest, how God is the biggest, and that's how they develop these certain mystic abilities. They understand God's nature in that regard, and that's how they also acquire these abilities. And this is also the reason behind why it's so important for people to experience certain miracles, because we even think that those who are saintly people, they surely have to do some kind of miracle, you know, and for example, predict the future and things like that, and like this. Even Srila Prabhupada was approached to say something about the future, and the person was so insistent, Prabhupada, to predict something from his poem that Srila Prabhupada started to examine. Yes, yes. Oh, please, some light. I don't see properly. And the Indian, yeah, I see it now. So you will, you took birth, and you will have some disease. You will be old, and in the end, you will die. And this was Srila Prabhupada's prediction. And if we think about it, this is the perfect prediction. And basically, all predictions are just some kind of elaborations of these basic points, which are the only thing which we have to know in this regard. But somehow, people are so attached to these miracles, because we want to control our faith, and we also want to use God in this. And here we see that even though we see God and we see the person, we see his power, but still there is some kind of selfishness. How I want to use God's power in order to be safe, to get some kind of an enjoyment and things like that. So basically, it means that it's not like they are interested in who God is as a person, but they are interested in what his power means to me. So it's still just a partial realization of God. And we got to the highest stage, this realization of Bhagavan, and this is the highest, this is the pure, complete realization of God. It includes the Sat, Chit, and Ananda nature of God also. So Ananda nature is what he does as a person, what he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, what is the spiritual world like, because that's his home. That is where he does his pastimes. He performs his pastimes. So this is actually Brahman, Bhagavan realization. And it means that we understand who God is as a person and who he is in the spiritual world, what he does, what he likes to do. And even within this realization, there are two different concepts. One understanding, the first understanding is the Aishwarya realization of God. That is basically the Vaikuntha planets where someone realizes God as Narayan, and they understand that yeah, I'm so small compared to God, and I want to serve God, but there is still a little bit of hindrance in service because they think that God actually doesn't really know needs my service, but anyway, I do it. But on the highest planet, Goloka Vrindavan, where the Madhurya concept of realization is there, they are really really desperately trying to do their best because they do it in a mood that Krishna needs this service. What will happen to him if I don't do my cooking in time, and he will starve, and it's not, I cannot let Krishna starve, being hungry, and all these other services like that. And they just experience, they don't even need God to be such a big person with big power. They just want to experience Krishna's sweetness, and that's what is attractive for them. And this is the highest of the highest realization. And I just would like to speak a few minutes about the different aspects in regards to these different realizations. One aspect is the surrender. So, what is surrender in the different types, different levels of realization? So, in order to have Brahman realization, it's uh, it's not needed to have such high level surrender, because what is the goal? To merge into God. I want to be God, so it's not such a big level surrender there, but a little bit is needed because for pure real, I mean, for complete realization of the impersonal Brahman, still there has to be some little bhakti, and in order to have that, there is some little surrender needed. But in order to have realization of Paramatma, there is some higher level surrender is needed, because I have to accept that there is a God who is much more beyond me, and he has such a high level power that I have to surrender to him. But still there is some kind of selfishness, that what this power means to me, this dependence on miracles and stuff, because I'm so much into this material worldly life. And we see that even there, these yogis who aim for that type of realization, they desire these mystic abilities, so they want something in return. But on the level of Bhagavan realization, there is complete surrender, that Krishna is the most important, and I'm insignificant, and I just want to serve him. I don't want anything in return. So this is complete surrender. Uh, Another aspect is that when we have Brahma realization or Paramatma realization, it's basically a simple thing in regards that Brahman is just one thing. There is one Brahman. When we speak about Paramatma, we can speak about the different forms of Vishnu, like Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, Karanodakashayi Vishnu, but still Paramatma is one. But when we want to realize Bhagavan, there are so many different forms of Bhagavan. So we see that Kurma Dev, Nisimha Dev, Varaha Dev, so many forms, and even, for example, our spiritual master is also a form of Bhagavan. So whom do we surrender to? Because we spoke about complete surrender, but it's important whom we surrender to. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is this important verse, this Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa, which speaks about that amongst all these different forms of Bhagavan, the highest of the highest, the source of all other forms is Krishna. So we have to surrender to Krishna. So if we want to have this complete surrender, we should direct this surrender to Krishna, not all the other forms. Of course, there are those who surrender to other forms, but our sampradaya dedicates all this surrender to Krishna, Krishna's form. And just to conclude, because in this verse and purport, Srila Prabhupada also spoke about this love, love for God, and it's also very important that this is what it means to have bhakti in these realizations, because I mentioned that even bhakti is needed to some extent when we want to realize Brahman, but obviously without bhakti, without devotional service, we won't be able to enter into the spiritual world. And it's very important to understand what this bhakti mean, what this love mean, because in the material world, what we experience as love is not really love. So how do we want to enter into the land of love, into the abode of love, without knowing what love means? And just yesterday, I heard one very, very interesting story in this regard. I very much liked it, that in the 16th century, there was a rabbi, and for some reasons, he guided his community in a way that he taught them, for example, vegetarianism and so many other principles which we also follow. And sometimes he left his village, and one occasion when he traveled back to the village, he saw one of the young men frying his fish, on the road. And he was very surprised. The man was very ashamed. Oh, I'm so sorry, Rabbi. I just couldn't resist, and somehow I got tempted by eating fish. And the rabbi said that, okay, no problem. It's just, please tell me one thing. Why did you have this urge that it was so important for you to eat fish? And this man said that, oh, I just cannot do anything. I really, really love fish. And the rabbi said that you say that you love fish, but you killed the fish. You just cleansed in order to fry the fish. You fried it, and you call that this is love. And the problem is that this love you also have for other people, this type of love, and this type of love you also have for God. And your love is fish scented. I really, really like this this expression, because generally this is what people think, that love is like this, that whatever I experience with the object of love, this experience is important for me. For example, when I eat the fish, this experience of taste is what I like, and this is what love means for me. But love is something completely different. This is lust. This is what Srila Prabhupada so many times said, that this is lust. And we have to purify this idea and have some idea what real love means. Because if we understand and if we realize what love means, this is what will help us go into the spiritual world. So we have to make some endeavor in order to experience what is love, because we have totally different concepts about this. Okay, I could speak so much more about this. I prepared some more, but we are even already over the 1 hour, so I think we can stop for some discussion.
Thank you so much, Mataji. That was amazing. I can say, wow, from where you started and where you took it. Like, no, we are not the body, and then Brahman preacher, Paramatma preacher, and Bhagwan, and the love. Amazing, amazing the way you give class, all my obeisances to you. Thank you so much for this. It did help so many confusions clearance, but I do still have some. But anyways, I'll give a chance to others. Dear devotees, if you can please start your videos, and if you have any questions, because this is such an important topic, please raise your hand and ask questions to Mataji. She's amazing. Anyone has got any questions? Okay. In the meantime, they think about it. I can ask you, you did mention that it is really difficult for us to recognize ourselves as not the body.
Mhm.
Especially even at this stage, it is difficult to recognize not that body, because as soon as something comes on we say, yeah, it's not, we are not the body, we are soul, da, da, da.
Mhm.
Anything comes to the body, we enter into the body concept and then go, as you mentioned in your class. Yeah, how do we take that as, like, how do get rid of that particular thing, and then we can think about the false ego and mind and intelligence. That stage is really, really difficult again. So does it come just by itself, or do we have to practice something?
Mhm.
What do you?
Uh, As I understand, basically what Srila Prabhupada gave all aims to have that kind of realization. So um, I would say that no separate endeavor from that is needed, but the endeavor is already encompassed in this package that Srila Prabhupada gave. Because, for example, when we try to control the body by following the mode of goodness, by
Mm,
cultivating the mode of goodness, it means that we are controlling the body and
mm,
not giving in to certain urges.
mm,
I also had one one picture. I will share it because it very nicely illustrates something.
mhm.
I hope you can see it. I try
Yeah,
to make it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We can see the picture. Yeah.
So because when Krishna speaks about the different modes of nature, he says that mode of ignorance is suffering from beginning to end.
Mm,
And in the mode of passion, there is happiness in the beginning, and later on there will be poison.
mm,
And the mode of goodness is just the other way around.
mm,
So for the mode of goodness, we have to have some kind of faith that
mm,
it will be beneficial that I'm suffering now. And
mm,
what this picture shows that suffering is there either if someone is fat or fully with muscles, but the suffering is in different time, because in the beginning, so for example, if someone is fat, it means that I want my happiness now, and I'm eating, and that's it. And later on, I will bear the health issues. But in the other case, it means that now I have the austerities now, and regulate my eating and have some exercises. Obviously, it's not the mode of goodness, because these big muscles are not the mode of goodness. Please don't misunderstand. But I'm just
No, no. Yeah.
using the example.
Mhm,
So that in this case there is suffering now, and I believe that there will be some beneficial results later.
mm,
And when we cultivate the mode of goodness, uh, So when we cultivate the mode of goodness, it means that we are regulating the senses. And all the senses, for example, in the morning, it would be so comfortable to have some extra sleep, like 1 hour, 2 hours, who knows where is the limit. But still there is some kind of regulation. And I'm using this idea that I'm not the body. The goal is not to satisfy the body, but my goal is to follow these higher principles which I got. And this is very simple. And maybe we don't think about it in the morning when, oh, it's the alarm clock and silencing it and getting up. We don't think about it. Yeah, I'm doing it because I'm not the body, but still we are doing the practice. And I also lately find something very interesting in this regard about the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge and the practice, that either if we have theoretical knowledge, it's not enough. And even if we have the practice, that is not enough. Even the two together is not enough. But if there is the element of bhakti to theory and practice together, that will be enough. That will help us to progress towards the spiritual. But the thing is that even when we are practicing these small, small self-regulations, it still helps us practice that we are not this body, even if we are not so conscious about it. We are doing the practical part. When we are going to a Bhagavatam class and listen to this theory and this knowledge of I'm not the body, then we are cultivating the theory. So there is the theory and the practice. And our goal is to put the bhakti into it. And the three will work nicely together. And this is also there when we hear transcendental topics, this purifies us. When we chant the holy name, it purifies us. When we are doing practical service, that also purifies us, and also some self-regulation is needed there. For example, when you go to the pujari, you have to clean yourself in a proper way, and there is a science how to do properly the service. And while we are cultivating these things, although we are not conscious about it, but we are regulating the body, regulating the mind, and these things, and all of these together support realization of this concept that we are not the body. But the tests come when where there are some kind of serious sicknesses or death is approaching, and that is the real test, because then it's so much more difficult to focus on this. So if we properly practice it, both the theory, the practice, and the bhakti part, that will help. That we don't do it out of intelligence, but it is both routine and at the same time with love. Then these two can be there during these tests also. Obviously, the practice is sometimes it's on the deathbed. It's not like we are getting up the same time and going to shower and whatever. So it's not like that. But the main point is to
the
develop the mood.
consciousness.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
True. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Any other question from anyone? Yes, Balapro, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, and Vaishnavas. That was just brilliant, Mataji. As usual, every single time is so good.
So, I know where to steer from. That's the trick.
No, but still, we all start with, every pravachan starts from, typically a Bhagavatam verse or something. It doesn't matter the source material, it's how you stitch it together, how you present it. This is so good. This one I particularly had to revisit, because as I was listening, I had a question, and then you would take us somewhere else, and I lost the previous question, and like that. So it's
Sorry.
very, very good. No, that was very good. So I'll definitely be all the. I think you add especially value with these allegories and examples and analogies and how you think, and you share how you think. So that adds so much value. So as far as that, actually later on I'll have an observation that is hilarious. But first, let me ask my question. We always talk about these Mayavadis who want to merge into the Brahman as if it's an easy thing, right? No. That is extremely durlabham. 1 in 1 trillion probably gets to do that, and then I don't know. So it's very important that you mentioned that, and then how you also mentioned Brahman. Again, I just when I see the word Brahman, I blow past it, saying, "Oh, it's not for us." But apparently not. That was very, very good. And then the bodily conception. Oh my God, that is the toughest thing, isn't it? You had very good examples there, and I try to, think about this every day. We have to Vaishnavas. I'm not the body. I'm not the body. And one trick I've been trying to use, which is not helping at all, is that what Krishna told Arjuna. He said, "You are not killing these people. I have already killed them." Right? That's what he said. And in a way, Krishna has already killed me. There is nothing more clear. I'm about 60 years old, and I'm like, nothing more clearer than the fact that I won't be here 40 years from now, right? It's like Krishna has already killed me. I try to think about that. It is, like I said, it's probably helping 0.0001%. It's very, very difficult. So is it in this area, can you share your thoughts or some tips, tricks, or anything that you use or you have seen, Mataji?
Sorry, in which
So the
regard?
question is, I am not the body.
Mhm.
How do you every day reinforce this thought that I'm not the body?
Okay, I have to confess now, I'm not
Yeah.
so good in this sense regulation. I try to.
Yeah.
For me, it mostly manifests on the subtle level, because somehow I'm more this type of person in the realm of ideas and and more likely this thinking type, and
But ideas are good. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yes, but so I'm still working on the growth level, so to say. I think on the growth level, what is really helpful, for example, doing a sadhana sheet, and because that makes us more conscious where we lack, and also gives some, when you have to share your sadhana sheet with someone like a mentor or spiritual master or whatever. it, I mean, my sadhana, I think, was the best when we had to send our sadhana sheet to Guru Maharaj.
Right. So Mataji, real quickly, a sadhana sheet, is it
Yes.
something what I can imagine when you did what? Like you write it down?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So there are different goals. I mean, it's very personal. It's not like everyone should have the same type of sheet, but generally it contains when we got up in the morning, when we go to sleep in the evening, how many rounds we chanted during the day, how many rounds we chanted before 7 o'clock, for example, how much we read, how much service we did, or things like this. How much class we listen to, and this is one thing which is helpful in regards to be more balanced, more conscious about having the having some regulation in life.
Right.
Because this is the first point. I mean, for example, it might be relevant, for example, to not to eat too much, or what do you
Mm.
eat, but
Mm.
these are the more subtle details, and also it's very important where to start regulation, because there are some people who are not devotees and they're so regulated. but it's the modes of nature always fighting with each other for dominance. And if
Yes.
someone is in the mode of goodness now, it doesn't mean that from 10 years from now they will be in the mode of goodness or later on. So it will surely change. It's just due course of time. We have to wait when it happens. So when we strive for regulation, it's important to see the difference between the spiritual and the material. And starting with the spiritual is the more important. So for example, I would say that it's important when we get up and when we go to sleep, but even more important is how much we chant throughout the day, and how much we read, how much we listen
Yeah.
to class throughout the day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the other things are not important, because they are supportive in order to, for example, if I get up at, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the morning, it means that I missed the beneficial, the auspicious early
Time.
hours for
Yes.
chanting.
Mm-hmm.
So they have some effect on each other. But if someone focuses properly on the spiritual, then it helps to get some purification, and mode of goodness can be easier later on. But also doing the spiritual from in the mode of goodness, I mean, starting from that point, it means that the spiritual practices will be really efficient. I don't know if you tried it or not, but for example, it happens sometimes when someone has so much devotional service, the practical type of service, that at some point it's just it's not even there that oh yes, I'm doing it for
For
Krishna or
Krishna. Yeah.
for the pleasure of
Yeah.
devotees. It's just, yeah, I have to do this and this and this and this and that and that, and
Yeah.
totally meditation is not there, but the practical activities are there. But still, there should be, what I'm actually offering to Krishna is my love for him and the
Mm.
desire to please him. And
Right.
all the others should be there because I have to express in some way. I saw some picture, some people who says all the time, like, I love you, I love you, I love you. But if there's no sacrifice, if there is no effort
Yeah.
in it, then it's just empty words. So
Yes. I love you,
we
Han. It
shouldn't be
comes
the
very
same.
easily in society.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously, so it's important to see the difference, that the goal is to have spiritual practices, but they can be effective from the mode of goodness. So that's the stepping stone. So for example, this is what I would say, that a sadhana sheet is very helpful. Also, it's very helpful to develop this concept that I'm not the body in on a subtle level in our dealings with devotees. This
Mm-hmm.
when there is some kind of conflict, it always comes up. So
Yes.
then is the time when
Yes.
we can be really conscious about how
Yes.
much I'm identifying with my subtle body.
Yes.
This, when someone has a different opinion how this service should be done,
Right.
or when I didn't get the respect which I think
Oh my
I
God.
deserve.
Yes, the respect.
And what happens in this situation? Yet they are not respectful. It's not me. I'm not
Exactly.
I'm not in fault. They are not
That's so
respectful. They
true.
are
So true. Yes.
not good
Yeah.
devotees.
Yes. Yeah. And
Another
even
thing, another thing with respect is,
mm,
Mataji, we think,
Yes.
yeah, the images you saw, and we see in the circular form, and the other person sees in the line form, and we think, oh, we are right, and he's not
right.
saying, or she's not saying it
Yeah.
that way.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
it's just
Yes.
so frustration that, oh my God,
Yeah.
how to explain them that this is what
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
And
yeah.
and
And
another very interesting point in this regard is that many times we don't notice that we place the mode of goodness on a higher level than spiritual. For example, many times we think that justice is more important than bhakti. I will say an example
mm,
because I see it happening now that. in our temple lately, they started a new rule that whoever leads kirtan, even if it's not a temple program kirtan, just if you go and sit down and have a group kirtan together with devotees, so those who lead the kirtan and those who play on the mridanga should be in Vaishnava dress
Attire.
and with tilak. Yeah, yes, and and it's very interesting that somehow the communication wasn't the best, but the main point is that many devotees, not many, but from one group, a few devotees, they decided that this is not a good decision. How can they do it? How can they expect it? There is, for example, one very young devotee who had beard, and he should have shaved it and whatever, and didn't want to do it. So somehow the whole group had to stop their kirtans. And some of, I mean, they didn't have to, but because one young person didn't want to continue, and he was a key person in the group, the others were very frustrated, and the group stopped going. And I very much I thought a lot about this, because when suddenly some kind of decision comes, which is you for so many years it wasn't there, then there is frustration, how they communicate. So I could understand the suffering behind it and the frustration of devotees. On the other hand, when I think that, oh, the leaders had such a decision, it goes against the principle. Why,
Yeah.
if you want to chant the Lord's name, there is no fast and rules. Everything
Rules,
is
right, right.
needed. How they can go
Yeah.
against these principles? But
Yeah.
but there is the other aspect that this is maybe this whole thing is not the best. I mean, I don't want to make any decision in this, but still, how much sacrifice I want to do in order to chant the holy name. And I'm not going for this program for the temple leaders.
Yeah.
I'm going for the pleasure of Gornitai. So here, this is one situation when we can decide what is more important to me: justice, my justice, so to
Mm-hmm.
say, or bhakti.
Or
Because
bhakti. Yeah.
if I'm doing this program for the temple, then if I experience that this is what the temple does to me, then okay, I stop. Then this is the level of justice.
Mm-hmm.
If I do it for Gornitai,
Yeah.
then
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And
Right.
many times it happens that we don't see the difference between justice, which is the level of dharma. It means that this is still material,
Yeah.
dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So
Right.
this is still material. So the
Right.
level of justice is material, but the level
Mm-hmm.
of bhakti is even higher. So many times it happened to the Pandavas that so many injustice happened to them.
Yes.
And,
Continuously. Yeah.
still they went on because they never had to do, the Kauravas never forced them to do any adharmic things, so they could tolerate it. But even then, they had to go to the forest for so many years. But what happened? They went to the forest and met with so many sages. So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Arjuna went to collect so many different,
Astras.
weapons.
Yeah. Weapons and
And
yeah.
Magical
they
There were
weapons.
benefited.
so many leelas there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like something injustice happens to me and I will suffer. No, no. Krishna is higher than justice, so he can arrange that it will be beneficial for me still.
Yeah. And
Such a
I
powerful
remember
point.
my
Such a powerful point.
Yeah. I remember my first experience at the temple when something was slightly off, or yeah, I don't even remember what. It was something simple. I'm like, not here too. I'm like, I have to deal with this in the outside world. I'm like, at the temple, I have to
Yeah.
deal with this. I thought Vaishnavas are all like Yudhishthira's walking around. It's like, it's not like that. So it's like,
Mhm.
and then I'm sure I've done wrong things too. And then I'm like, okay, it's fine. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
And the other,
but it's true that it's very very hard effort
yeah.
to see the difference. So we speak about it lightly now, but when we experience, these are heavy tests. So really
Hmm.
heavy. I can understand that those who experience it's not
Yeah.
easy, but sooner or later, I think everyone meets these kinds of
Yeah.
tests. And if we can successfully pass these tests, it will be so beneficial to our spiritual life. So yeah.
So the other thing, Mataji, I think today Krishna has given you a new name. So I said I'll point out something hilarious. Today Krishna's given you a new name, and I kind of like it. So what happened is in the YouTube video that was posted, instead of Radha Vinodini, it says Radha Vicodin.
What?
I'm sorry, that was me.
So Vicodin, Vicodin. I don't know if it's there in Europe. Vicodin is a painkiller. So I think the way you talk, the way you give us pravachans, I think painkiller is a brilliant name for you, Mataji. So I think we can keep it. We can keep it as an alternate name for you. Radha Vicodin Vilasini Mataji is perfectly fine. I'm just joking,
sorry.
Mataji.
I've corrected the spelling, Mataji. It was fine. It was late and technical difficulties were going on, and I was just typing up it. Oh God.
Please don't worry about it. It's really funny. I like a good joke.
Right. It was really funny, Mataji. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Yeah.
That was really, really good answer, Mataji. Definitely makes so much of sense. And I know in that situation, actually speaking, I've been through that situation, and it is really hard to accept that we feel that we are victim, we even got justice from the system and everything, because and then I just accepted it that maybe this is Krishna's plan, otherwise it won't happen. There's something Krishna is trying to teach me there. And then it makes it at least it keeps me calm there, rather than like all the time feeling sad and morose about it and just keep on mourning that, oh, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. So yeah, I think we are really, really good at that selling. One thing I want to make a point with Bala Prabhu's thing, when you mentioned sadhana sheet, what I find it easy is, Bala Prabhu, we do PDP. I don't know whether you do in your work or not. Personal development.
Yeah. We do only for, like, in a limited sense, for developers when they come, new people come in. Yes, PDP.
Yeah. But that is similar to that we can do in the spiritual thing as well. And this is what I heard from His Holiness S.B. Keshava Swami, that every time, do your plan and then review it, how much you have changed for that. You are the person who's writing the plan. You are the person who's checking yourself, and that does help me. So if you want to do something like that,
yes, that's a great idea, Mataji. And Mataji, please forgive me if I couldn't joke. I thought it was pretty funny.
No, that's fine. I noticed that when I was looking at this thing, and I thought, oh my God, what I did.
No, actually, I'm stunned that you noticed that. It's like, yeah, that's very sharp. I would not have noticed it if I made that mistake. Thank you.
I changed it anyways. It is better.
Cool.
Back to Radha Vinodini.
Yeah, Radha Vinodini. Yes.
But yeah, it was like I was literally like, it wasn't working. It was asking me some sort of a passcode, and I wasn't getting it. And I said, oh my God, I have to start the class.
See, this is the material world. People who do nothing, like me, criticizing people who do seva. You're putting up YouTube videos, you're conducting the class, and here I am, nitpicking.
No, that's
sorry. Yeah, but it's just
nothing to do with you. There's one comment and question from Bhavani Mataji. She said that so the leaders could also ask themselves why they made such a rule, for their own idea or for the pleasure of Gaur-Nitai. They could ask themselves, does Gaur-Nitai ask for proper clothing? Or would they be more unhappy if I require uniform and then the people go
away? This is... this was the reason why I was a bit hesitant to share this example, because obviously this triggers some additional thoughts, and I think it's very important to understand that so many times the mind doesn't want to follow any rules. That's one thing, and the other thing is that so many times we neglect to understand what kirtan means. because leading a kirtan is a very high level service. Sometimes in our temple, it's spiritual masters used to say that leading a kirtan is like doing a pujari on the altar, and even at least when our yatra started, then it was a requirement that, for example, those who were initiated, they could lead kirtan. Now it's different. Now practically everyone can lead kirtan, although when it's a temple program kirtan, they have to follow the four regulative principles and chant 16 rounds. But usually we how to say, those who are senior devotees, they see things from a more spiritual perspective, and in this regard it means that what it means to offer quality service to Krishna, because it's not like, I mean, I remember I was in one small bhajan many years ago, and the Mataji did some kind of mistakes in the leading, but you know, it's not like there cannot be any musical mistakes, but when they are regularly happening, it means that I didn't practice enough to properly present it to the Lords. So it's not like we are practicing in front of them. And I remember I told the Mataji that, you know, if it doesn't go so nicely, maybe you can switch to some other melody which you know better. And later on, when you practice, then you can sing it here. And her response was like, yeah, but you know, Gornitai, they are very merciful, they will accept it. And that's the problem with our mentality, that this is not a loving offering. This means that I want to sing this melody because I like this melody, and yeah, they will accept it. No, service is not like that. So I have to put everything I can into pleasing the Lord, and this is what we lack when we are speaking about kirtan. I think the problem is that many times, you know, we are doing so many self control that usually prasadam and kirtan are the areas when we can get some enjoyment, and somehow this mentality gets into these services. But what the leaders discussed here, and when I speak about leaders, it's important to understand that two sannyasis were there in the group who decided this. So it's not like some kind of managerial discussion and decision. It was the idea behind this was that let's offer quality service to the Lord, and it's not like they got the instruction that you cannot sing or cannot play mridanga because you are in such and such outfit. The request was that please take some Vaishnava outfit and then do it. And another group, for example, I know that there was one Prabhu who maybe never even got wore dhoti, and still he said that okay, just please someone show me how to how to put the dhoti on. And the one of these leader sannyasis himself personally offered that he would show him how to put on the dhoti. So it's not like, you know, the evil managers decided in such a way that the devotees will be freaked out, but um, it should be a discussion that the managers decide and explain what is the importance behind it, and those who should follow, they should try to be humble, they should try to make the effort and try to seek understanding, proper understanding why it's needed. So it's not the mentality will be behind it that, oh, I have to follow it again, how to put the dhoti on or sari on, but understand that I'm putting it on because this is for the pleasure of Krishna. And yes, there are some who are not able to follow such instruction. I can understand because sometimes there are some blocks which we cannot overcome at this point. But then we shouldn't blame the other person for this. We should see that this is my own limitation. Guru Maharaj said something very powerful when we met met in the disciples meeting, that because I said about something that oh, I have problems with my limits, and he said that how to approach the unlimited in a limited state. So the goal is I have to overcome my own limitations, and these are the possibilities. And uh, when it's about the temple leaders' decisions and the congregational devotees following them, when there is some kind of clash between the two, it's always important to see that when devotees leave, it's not like there cannot be. Sometimes the leaders make mistakes, so it's obviously there. But so many times the false ego is which there are some expectations, that my expectations, and I cannot overcome them, and that is why the devotees leave. So my point is that it's not that there is any general formula. There can be mistakes on both sides. I don't say that that leaders are perfect or the followers are perfect. I just say that that it's more subtle than that, and on it can there can be problems on the devotees sides also, because when following is so difficult, is generally because of the false ego. But the responsibility of the leaders is that to see that not to trigger so much. So how much they can manage, because there are some devotees who are so young. I mean, in Krishna consciousness, young, that it's not we cannot expect them to overcome high level tests. So it's a balancing game, and this is why leadership is very, very difficult. It's so easy to say like, oh yeah, this is a wrong decision. But I know that at least our leaders, they are so overburdened with so many services which they do. So sometimes mistakes happen because they don't have the capacity to give proper attention to everything, which I mentioned previously, that when we have so many things, then we just try to switch properly between them, that everything is done. So yeah, unfortunately, we don't see into each other's lives and services. I've heard that there was some kind of temple where it was a system that there was a circular system that everyone did everyone's service, and then it's easy to understand that what are the challenges for others. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, Balaprabhu, do you have a question?
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji. Something you said triggered something in me about things that I'm not even thinking about, and we are not even thinking about the temple. The point here is that we always say Gauranitai are much more tolerant and merciful than Krishna, who's a little more stricter. So what I see happening right before my eyes in the last week is that people are installing Gauranitai at home rather than Radha Krishna for this very reason. And a very, very senior devotee gave a lecture where he said, don't install Radha Krishna, install Gauranitai for this very purpose. So, and then he also said, you just give some water, they are fine. It's like they're happy with it. Now, obviously, the devotees are not going to give water. They're going to offer the prasadam that they're going to eat and everything. But there is a risk everywhere. We have to be very vigilant. And thank you for bringing that up, Mataji.
Yeah, I also heard it. For example, in our country, for many years, Shivanam Swami was
Hungary, Mataji? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he's more likely focusing on writing his books, but still present. But anyway, so he had some podcasts about this topic that I was so shocked. In one podcast, he spoke about it, that in somewhere there was a lake where so many devotees, when they couldn't worship their deities after some time, that oh, it's okay if deities are put into a lake that is proper. But no, when we
Yeah.
accept a deity into our home,
Yeah.
it's like we
Yeah.
are taking this responsibility, and
Yeah.
devotees are so sentimental about it, that, oh, Krishna came to my home because someone offered a deity to them. But
Yeah.
and they think that, oh, I will do it forever, because what would happen? And 1 year, 2 years, or whatever time passes, and they just give up. And it's important that we should understand what kind of responsibility it means. And different forms of Krishna accept different degrees of offenses towards them. And this is true that Gornitai are the most merciful, that they don't accept any offenses. And it's not like we have to offer water daily, but I mean, we can offer anything.
Yeah.
Is just I mean, anything more also.
Mm-hmm.
But there should be, the best is if there is some kind of minimum standard which we set, and that we always follow.
Yeah.
But Radha Krishna is different, and I know that here in Hungary, I don't even know if, I mean, there are these, not the statue type, but like, I don't know the English word, sorry, but not the painting, but when the painting is a bit 3D.
Like a
Um,
three-dimensional. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. I don't
yeah,
know what it's
yeah.
called either. Yeah.
I don't know the word, but anyway,
Yeah.
so Radha Krishna worship is not so much present in not so prominent in Hungary, I would say. Usually devotees have Gornitai deities. And also, it's emphasized that the main object of worship should be the temple deities.
Yeah.
So it's also a problem if someone doesn't go to the temple, could go but doesn't go. But at the home there is worship. So it used to be said that the home deities are the expansions of the temple deity, and the main focus is the temple deities. So, but the problem is that really we don't really have proper knowledge about it, and start to speculate. And so many times it's our worship can be so sentimental, and not based on
Shastra. Yeah.
proper knowledge and shastra. Yeah, and when we don't properly understand our own limitations and
Yeah.
future involvement.
Yeah. So maybe I
So.
can bring this up here, Mataji, and I'm curious about this. So I sometimes meal prep, right? Meal prep means I prepare, I'm busy, I make it for 2 days. And then the
Mhm.
first day I've already offered it to Radha Krishna. Luckily, I don't have deities yet. So I'm assuming it's a lesser of Radha, but I've offered it. And then I don't reoffer it. I mean, it makes little sense to me to reoffer it the next day. So literally the gods are starving for 24 hours or something like that. It bothers me. So is there what is the thinking about this?
Mm. Well, as you
Yeah.
specifically speak about Radha Krishna, or generally about
No, just
deities.
prasadam, just prasadam. Like I don't even have
But I
deities
mean,
yet.
I mean,
Yeah.
which form of deities?
Mentally, I'm offering them to. I have a picture of Radha Krishna, like two-dimensional
Hmm.
picture, and
Hmm.
that's what I give boga to. I'm literally offering it to Radha Krishna.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to say, in the material world, especially in cities, it's difficult to manage to
Yeah.
do it every day. It's I would say that always offer fresh food. So it's not
Okay.
like the next
Okay.
day
So don't
offering
make it
the.
like 2 day batches. Okay. Or I will
Yeah,
try.
then
Yeah, I will go there.
when
Yeah.
when it's fresh,
Yeah.
then it can be offered, and it
Mhm.
will remain prasadam for the next day.
Yeah.
And because if it's not fresh, in Bhagavad Gita it is said that that the food which is already such
Right.
and such
No, no.
old,
So
that's in the mode
yeah.
of ignorance.
So,
So.
but you get it. I am offering it fresh to Radha Krishna, but
Mhm,
then it's being consumed over a longer period of time, which is not
mhm,
good, right?
mhm.
Yeah, it does say 3 hours, I think Bhagavad Gita says, but they didn't have
Oh, I don't remember
refrigerators.
the
Yeah.
exact time, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We can't do 3 hours, but
Three
that's
hours,
fine.
right?
Every day fresh is
Every day
that's what
fresh
Guru
is
Maharaj
okay.
says. Yeah.
I will shoot
Yeah.
for that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's important that it should be fresh, and the same. same preparation 2 times. It's also
Yeah.
when you cooked it together, it's I don't know, it's somehow strange because you already offered it once. So
Yeah.
I mean, in the mind, maybe if you just offered the half of it, it's like
Yeah.
can be done, but
So
appreciate.
practically it works because they offer it to them and then I eat it till it's done. But then one day has gone by, an extra day has gone by. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand your point that
Yeah, yeah. But which is
they
probably bad. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. That they don't get anything
Yeah. On
for
the
one day
second day, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few things which you can do. One thing is the understanding that there is the principle of practicality also. So,
Hmm.
for example, I remember I once asked Guru Maharaj about it, that if I cook for the deities, then I should cook something which is according to their taste. So, for example, all the time I should cook Indian type of, I mean, Vedic
Hmm.
recipes and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and he said that just be simple and what is
Yeah.
practical, do it. So it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
There are those who have this as service in the temple, that they cook the Rajbhog offering to Gornitai.
Oh, I
Obviously,
know. My
they have
God, that is
different
so elaborate.
principles,
Yeah, different principles and different
but
efforts.
there are
Yeah.
different degrees. And also, for
Hmm.
example, uh, Uh, there are those who have certain diets and
Hmm.
eat very, very simple. Then the deity won't get something opulent because the devotee is not able to eat it. Otherwise, the
Right,
health will
right.
go wrong. So
Yeah.
there are these practical aspects. But
Hmm.
also, what you can do is that Mm, you can offer some small quantity of nuts or fruit, one fruit or what.
Yes, yes, yes. Fruit and nuts are something the day that I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
daisy's
and
not eating it.
that can be there in
Yeah.
the days
Hmm.
between. So
Yeah.
you offer something, but not such a quantity that
Yeah.
bigger and bigger quantity will go bad after some
Yes,
time.
yes, yes. So yeah, a combination of these two will work, Mataji. I'll try to do less meal prep, and also on the days it is not there, offer sweets and other kinds of things, fruits and nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Fantastic.
we
Thank
do.
you.
Yeah, for example,
Mm,
That's what
for me,
we
it
do.
also used to
mm.
happen that I make a bigger quantity and put it into the freezer, and later on when I just don't have time to cook at all,
Right,
then I just
right.
take it
Yeah,
out.
yeah. That is the meal
So,
prep part. Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's there because obviously
Mm,
sometimes we just don't have the time to do it,
right.
and it's there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, that is so practical. Thank you so much. Yeah,
No, thank you for the
thank you.
question. No, that makes
yeah.
sense. There's a comment from Bonnie Mataji saying the rules should be connected to a shastra. And I remember when I did the Bhakti Shastri, the deity, and I mean Vaishnava etiquette is the Vaishnava cloth, one of the necessities of the
Mhm.
initial devotees, that we should be representing, because we are representing Gaurnitai and representing Krishna and ISKCON. It is better
Mhm.
to dress in the
Yeah.
Vaishnava outfit,
Yeah,
because like
yeah, I'm so unhappy with that role. I'm fine with the kurta. The dhoti bothers me, but I have to do it. Yeah.
because otherwise, so many classes I've heard that
Yeah.
if you see policemen, how do you recognize if he's not in
Nah,
uniform?
yeah. Well, maybe they recognize me from the kurta and the tilak.
Of course,
But
you
I
will
I
understand.
can
see visibly
believe
that,
you
oh, that
believe
Hare
and
you.
Krishna is
and the kantimala, tilak, and kurta, enough. But I totally understand. I'm not arguing it. I'm just saying that bothers me so much because it's like it's like having chopsticks and a fork and
Hmm.
being forced to use the chopsticks. I'm like, the fork is there.
But
Yes,
then,
but
then the vibes
Yeah.
comes, isn't it? Like, oh yeah, we are in the proper kirtan, or we are in the
Right, right.
that atmosphere is there. And that's what I feel, that
Mhm.
when you see somebody just singing like that, it doesn't give you that vibes. When they are in the proper outfit
That
and
is
sing,
true. That
it,
is true. So true. So
it
true.
makes so much
Yes.
of difference.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but it's also a matter of, which level of principle you use in which situation. Because one point is that when we wear Vaishnava outfits, it uplifts our mind also
Mm.
because it's in the higher modes,
Mhm.
and also if we go out on the streets, it as you mentioned also it actually it helps preaching because others will think of Krishna because of looking at us. But the other point is that in different types of services, other levels of this principle is needed. And for me, actually, it's even disappointing that you know, when we are not in the temple, what kind of outfit we choose, because so many times I see that devotees, even it's not even about sari and dhoti, but so many times it's so much in the mode of passion. How maybe
Opulence,
not so
opulence.
much in
Yeah.
the ignorance, but passion is sometimes
Yeah.
the belly of the ladies, Matajis even is out, and you know the how they wear their hair and whatsoever. So even that's a problem that we don't even go to till the mode of goodness. But we have to accept it that for certain services, it's important, especially for two reasons. One is that our mind will be in a different consciousness because the outfit helps the mind be more likely in the mode of goodness, and because Krishna likes it, and that's the highest principle. And
Mhm.
whenever such elevated devotees decide it like sannyasis, then it means that it's it's more likely that they know the Shastra than I know it. So, I mean, my understanding is that this type of humility is also should be there, and so I mean there can be different principles in different communities, different temples. But if there is a decision, then it's possible to have communication. Most cases, as I saw, leaders are very much open to communication.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't want to change their decision. It's there, but at least we can seek for some understanding. But the problem is when there is no this there is no attitude of desire for understanding, then it's a problem because we immediately just have this idea that I know better, and that's a problem.
Mhm. Thank you,
There is
Mataji.
also some comment. Sometimes members of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, especially in the Western countries, find it difficult to approach people to distribute books because people are unfamiliar with the traditional saffron robes of the devotees. The devotees have therefore inquired whether they can wear European and American dress before the general public. From the instructions given to King Prataparudra by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, we can understand uh, that we may change our dress in any way to facilitate our service. Yeah,
Hari Bol, Bani Mataji, dropping Shastra and verses and everything. Yeah.
yes, I mean it's just you know how to apply Shastra in certain situations. In Hungary, they also go out in. I mean, Prabhus most likely go out in dhoti and kurta, but Matajis generally go out not in sari but in skirts. So it's not like everything needs to be done. But temple worship is different. There are some devotees who think that even we should be able to go on onto the altar and and not wear sari and dhoti. So I mean it's a sensitive topic because there are different I mean communities who propagate this, and I don't aim to solve a difficulty which is there already for decades between much more elevated devotees than me. So I don't want to make any decision. It's just everyone should decide what they want to follow.
It's practically, yeah, practicality should be there. You're right. No, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Vani Mataji, for raising these things, these points. And thank you, Balaprabhu, for your lovely question.
Yeah, it was very lively.
Thank
I
you,
think I
Mataji, for
very
hosting.
much
Yeah. And please forgive my Vicodin Aparada. It was so hilarious. I had to bring it up. Thank you.
please
It
please
was
don't
an
forget.
Aparada, Prabhuji. It was nice. It was nice comments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
But these are nice Krishna conscious jokes.
Yeah, I know,
No,
right?
it was really nice. Yeah.
Yes.
And today's class was amazing. Like, nice
Yes,
and
it
lively.
was.
Okay. All the discussions we made, we cleared up so many points as well, and which is so good. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for joining.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Chandramouli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Her Grace Radha Vinodini Mataji ki jai.
Hare
Gaur
Krishna.
Bhaktavinda
Thank
ki
you very
jai.
much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.